We're set to get underway for the morning session. Welcome to Big 12 Football Media Days Wireless Network. For those of you that weren't here yesterday, the little placards on your table, you can read that. Again, cell phones off or at least muted. We're going to have young ladies, you see them in the yellow here. If you want to ask a question, just raise your hand. We'll get you a microphone as soon as you can. But please talk into the microphone quickly. Jenny Carlson she's got her hand up. First one. You win. Please talk into the microphone clearly, as close as you can to your mouth. Give your name and your affiliation, because all the quotes today are going to be transcribed, and they're doing it remotely, so it's important that you speak directly into the mic. By the way, all the press conferences are being televised from 9 till 1 each day on Big 12 Now. They'll also be archived on Big 12 Now. And quotes and other Media Day items will be at Big12Sports.com and uploaded into the media box. Photographers, you can obviously work here, and don't forget, right through that tunnel behind me, there's a media workroom. Now, let's get down to the good stuff. In his first year, former assistant coach, former player in the Big 12, now head coach at the University of Oklahoma, here's Brent Venables. Brent?
Thanks, Ron. Good morning. Good to see everybody. Welcome to Arlington. It's great to be here. I'm really honored and proud to be here as the head coach representing the University of Oklahoma. Our football players, our coaches, their families, and certainly our administration. What an honor it is to sit here in front of you all here today. I'd also like to congratulate and recognize our players, too, that have earned the right to be here today. Dylan Gabriel, quarterback, Marvin Mims, our wide receiver, Ethan Downs, the defensive end, Woody Washington, one of our cornerbacks, and Justin Broyles, one of our defensive backs as well, as a Big 12 champion. Congratulations to Justin. I'm just thankful to be here. As y'all know, I'm the new head coach at Oklahoma, but I'm not new to Oklahoma. This will be my 14th year at the university, certainly a different capacity, but I couldn't be more thrilled and excited about the opportunity that I have in front of me. Before I get to just what the last 7 months have been like, and y'all have plenty of questions for me, I would like to throw out some statistics here, because I know this will answer a few of your questions. What we've been working through the last several months, starting in December. But this year, this version of the Oklahoma Sooners 2022 Team 128 will comprise of 40% of our roster will have never put on a Sooner jersey in a game before until this fall. So 33 scholarship players and 15 walk-ons. 15 of those guys, one was a walk, or two of them were walk-ons, and 13 scholarship are the transfers. But with those, we have 243 starts out of those 15 transfers, 444 games played, because I know a lot will be and has been made of how much we lost on both sides of the ball from a production standpoint. Jeffrey Johnson has 44 career starts. Dylan Gabriel, 25 career starts. Trey Morrison, 44 career starts. Kyle Ergenbright, 34 career starts. McCade Mator, 28. Jonah Lalulu, 18. And our tight end Parker, 25 career starts. I got 6 back on offense. We got 6 back on defense. Got Michael Turk and our punt returner, and Marvin Mims and Eric Gray as our kick returner coming back. And then just breaking down the roster another step further, it's virtually 50% of our rosters, juniors and seniors, 50% are freshmen and sophomore. We'll have 13 graduates as well as we kick off the 2022 season. So as y'all can imagine, the last 7.5 months, there's been a lot going on in Norman, Oklahoma. You only get one opportunity, one chance to be a first-time head coach and to do things the first time. So we've been very patient and have tried to nurture through the process foundationally of building our program the right way through relationships, through accountability, through structure, through discipline. And certainly there's been a lot of things from recruiting, building a staff, doing some new things from a facility standpoint, transitioning, from being an assistant to a head coach. And every day there's something new, as y'all know. Whether if you just take yourself back to those moments when you went from elementary school to middle school, right? Or you went from middle school to high school, and the transition, all the things you know. Sometimes you just got to go through it. When you went from being single to being married, you went from not having any children to having children, and you kind of learn as you go. And so that's what the last 7.5 months have been like for me. I feel I'm very prepared for this moment. I've been very fortunate that I've been associated and been a part of programs where, to me, there's 3 Hall of Fame coaches that have influenced me. In Bill Schneider at Kansas State, Bob Stoops at Oklahoma, and I know without question that he will be a Hall of Fame coach in Dabo Swinney at Clemson. So I've been really fortunate to be around a lot of great people, tremendous football players that have helped me get here to this moment, and I couldn't be more excited. But it's been just like you would expect. The fire hose is fully inserted in my mouth here, and we've been blowing and going, and so I'm really excited to get back with the team now as summer's coming to a close, and we're getting ready to start up fall camp here August 4th. But having an opportunity to be around the players all summer. And what I love about this game that I'm associated with is the true transformation, both inside and out, that happens on these young guys' journeys. So I'm blessed beyond what I deserve to be a part of those journeys. But I'll open it up for questions.
All right. Kurt, I haven't forgotten about you, buddy. I'm going to get to you. Jenny, there you are.
Hey, Brent.
Hey, Jen.
Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. Last time Oklahoma hired a head coach from outside the program, you were part of that staff with Bob Stoops. You guys brought in a transfer quarterback in Josh Heupel. We saw what he did for the program. Now with you guys bringing Dylan in, what does he need to do for your team this season?
Well, that's a great question. There's certainly parallels in many ways, bringing an experienced lefty and in our first year. But to me, it goes back just to the people. You got to be good enough. Dylan Gabriel's a winner. You can't say it any better than that. He's thrown for over 8,000 yards, completed over 60% of his passes, incredible touchdown to interception ratio. Just a great leader. As he is, again, he's our quarterback. And certainly anything can happen as we move forward through fall camp. It's always about daily competition. But I feel great. I can lay my head down at night knowing not just what he has done on the football field, but the quality of the person he is. And he's about all the right stuff. He's dependable. He's reliable. He's accountable. He's humble. He's one of our hardest workers. Shows up early. He's the last one to leave. Always working to improve. And just so he leads by example, and guys follow him. He's a galvanizer of people.
We'll go over here to the left, Coach.
Hello, Coach Venables. I'm Hayden Farrar. I'm with OUinsider.com. I just wanted to ask you real quick, with all of the losses and additions via the transfer portal, who's really stepped up and embraced a leadership role for this team?
Boy, it's been I got 5 of them here with me today. And so I won't go through each and every one of them today, but I've been most excited about, I can go through a laundry list of more players, okay, and it was kind of a struggle to figure out who's earned the right because, I'm limited in the number of guys I can bring. So it's really been, team effort from a leadership standpoint. There's been buy-in at every position on both sides of the ball. I would be remiss if I just named a few guys, and certainly the 5 guys that are here today have earned the right as leaders, as guys that have invested, as guys that have been about it. I talk about be about it, quit talking about it. I want guys that are going to be about it. I'm looking for doers, not takers, and these guys here today represent a great locker room of a bunch of great leaders.
All right, Coach, we're going to go to the right, way over here to the right, waving the hand.
Hey, I'm Jay Swick of KIMB, CBS Sports Radio, Oklahoma City. I wanted to ask you about your coaching, career. There's been a lot of schools over the years that have been interested in hiring you as a head coach. You've turned them all down. What was it about the University of Oklahoma that made you decide to come back and be a head coach?
Again, great question. I learned a long time ago from Bill Snyder, the grass isn't greener. And I always believed that. He said it and I believed it. I wrote it down and that was in my coaching Bible 101. And as I was a baby of 3 boys in my own family, and I learned from my older brother's mistakes, if you will. And I tried to do the same thing as a young coach. I never learned how to be great in 2 places at one time. And to be great as a football player, you got to have your feet underneath your hips, right? You can't have your feet way out here outside of your shoulder pads. And to be a great in any profession, I believe wholeheartedly to try to be great right where you're at. And so I've just been a very loyal, patient person that tried to learn from others, but I think that also comes back to just trying to be very thankful and appreciative of the opportunities that I have. I'm loyal to my players, loyal to the colleagues, loyal to the people that have believed in me, and that has served me well through my career. Countless opportunities to evaluate, new opportunities, but there's only this was a very special opportunity for me. Oklahoma has been near and dear to my heart. I left in a very emotional state when I left Kansas State to come to Oklahoma. But my last words to Coach Snyder, as I was still learning and I had a ton of growth ahead of me. And as I told Coach Snyder, I wanted an opportunity to coach at a place like Oklahoma. And so it's a special place. It's the winningest program in the modern area. The most championships, conference championships in the history of college football with 50. The only program since 2000 that has not had a losing season in the Power 5. And so winning is very hard. Being consistently at the top of your game is even harder. So Oklahoma has exemplified that both on the field and probably for me and my piece in making the decision off the field from a leadership standpoint, from an alignment standpoint. So whether that starts with Joe Harris, our president, who was the dean of the law school when I was there for those 13 years, or Joe Castiglione, who hired Bob Stoops, and I was a part of that initial staff back in 1999, and so many countless others, whether it's Larry Nafee or Zach Salmon, and so many people in the administration, and then the what Oklahoma has stood for. We're talking with the other players on the Sprinter van over here, just talking about success coming in here. And you got some guys that are sophomores and some guys that are 6-year seniors. And I wanted to hear their experiences here in Arlington. And I'm the only one that had a loss in this stadium, by the way, out of that group. So whether Marvin Mims went 4 or 5-0 as a high school player, or beating Texas or Iowa State or Baylor, TCU, Florida, myself, I certainly we were 2-1, beat Nebraska. And beat Notre Dame while I was at Clemson, and of course we lost to BYU 14-13 in 2009 here. So I think we're collectively, not including the high school, give or take 6 or 7-1 here. So I say that with all humility, that this place has a standard of excellence that takes a backseat to nobody. So to have an opportunity to become the head coach at a place that is near and dear to my heart, where all 4 of my children were born here, I've been very invested in the community in Norman, in the university, in that football program. Still have great relationships. My life's all been about the people that I've been associated with that have helped me along the way. Bob Stoops, Joe Castiglione, Larry Nafee, certainly Joe Harris, and so many amazing football players at Oklahoma, and certainly the other stops that I got there, but I've had so many of those former Oklahoma players that have helped me get to this moment. And I have 17 former players on my staff. So again, I'm going to be about it, and that's what I've been a very connected person my whole life. And it's always about the people. The people always make the place, but Oklahoma's a special place. And so it was when everything got right, and I knew that I was going to be supported the way that I feel like I needed to be a successful head coach, it was a no-brainer. It was a slam dunk.
All right, Kurt.
Kurt Bowles,
Hey, Kurt.
Austin American Statesman. Hey, Brent. Oklahoma seems to have lost its identity as a dominant defensive program with great offensive powerhouses. How hard is it going to be to restore that identity to Oklahoma, especially in a league as offensive as the Big 12?
Well, again, if you went to last year's press conference, wherever I did a press conference, or 10 years ago and I did a press conference, wherever I did a press conference, I'm going to really answer that the same way. Do we have to establish some standards at Oklahoma? Our standards as an offense and defensive staff, me as the head coach, absolutely. And that process took place from the moment I took the job. And very clearly, you have to rehearse your beliefs. You have to rehearse what your values are. You have to rehearse what your standards are continuously as you nurture and develop a culture of excellence, a culture of great defense, what that looks like. And then sometimes you got to go through it to grow and improve. The improvement process sometimes, and for me personally, it never happens fast enough, ever. And but I also have a very good perspective on what that's going to look like, both the highs and the lows of it. And so I think it's important that as we get into our inaugural season, that we'll create a baseline, and then we'll build from there. And it's not going to be what I just left at Clemson, but it wasn't that way when we got there in 2012 either. And you develop that through a lot of work, a lot of players believing in what you're doing. Certainly staff chemistry and cohesion's an incredible part of that. It's really, once you start playing games, figuring out what your strengths and your weaknesses are, and then playing to those strengths, protecting your weaknesses, and then developing and improving in those areas of weakness. And so I have a very clear vision for what it looks like. We've worked really hard and diligently the last several months to show our players, coach them, teach them, allow them to see it on videotape of what it looks like. A picture's worth 1,000 words. And so, how long that process will take, it'll never happen fast enough, I can assure you. And but what I love about this team is the hunger and the willingness to commit to what we've asked them to do. Like, they have answered the bell every step of the way. And anybody that knows me will tell you, I'll call it exactly how it is, good, bad, or indifferent. And so I've been incredibly pleased with the work that these guys have committed to, and the hunger and the awareness that they have. Okay, here's where we are. This is where we need to get better. Because remember now, you're dealing with a locker room that has won 78 games the last 7 years, that have played in a bunch of playoffs and a bunch of championship games. I think Oklahoma is, give or take, 13-1 in conference championship games. 2003, Kansas State was the last one and the only one. This is a group and this is a locker room that's used to winning. Do we need to improve in every area? Absolutely. We got to get better in every area. It's not just the defense. It's every single area for us to have the kind of program that we want to have. And that's disciplined, that's tough, that's precise, that's explosive, that's uncommon effort. It's being relentless. Playing, with chemistry and unity, and playing for, the name across their jerseys. And, we got a lot of work to do, and there's no question about it. But I think that our issues are first world problems in the landscape of college football. But I'm not naive. I recognize better than anybody, where we're at and what we got to do to improve. And so it's a process. You have to go through it. What I've learned from other people, from a scheme standpoint. And so it's not like you have these magical schemes. But we all share in both the success and the failure. So we all have been, again, diligently putting calluses on those hands and working hard to develop an identity. And again, that'll continue to be established. My expectation as we begin our year, and a true measure of success, and I've got lots of ways to measure success, but one of the most important measures of success is, all right, where do we start August 4th and where do we end okay, the last week of November, all right? And my expectation is improvement, all right? Better than when we started. And some of it will be incremental, and some of it won't be noticeable to the naked eye, and then some of it, hopefully, it'll be incredibly transparent. And so that's when you know you're doing things the right way, that you're better at the end than when you start. It's pretty simple, and but you do that with a daily focus, and you can't worry about someday if you don't focus on today. And so literally, and that's not a cliche and everything else, that's really, young people have a hard time focusing, old people have a hard time focusing. And so it's a daily process for us. It's a daily focus of improvement, and our guys have bought into that. That's what I love. There's an innocence about this locker room that I've really have grown to love. And but the work, the commitment, and the hunger, as well as the self-awareness. And it's one thing, because nothing's more, for me as a coach, more discouraging than somebody that doesn't want to be coached, that somebody that thinks that they have it all figured out, or somebody that has an overinflated opinion of themselves. So we have a lot of humility, a lot of toughness, a lot of hunger in that locker room, and so that gives you, from a foundation standpoint, Kirk, reason to believe that, all right, that's where mindset to get us started in the right direction.
Coach, I want to thank you for your time. That's all the questions we're going to be able to take right now. Texas Tech coming up immediately following this. Thanks, Coach. We'll come this way. Right.